Hey influencers, so you've been shadow banned. No worries, it's usually not a huge deal. I understand that sometimes when we get shadow banned or we notice that our post engagement is declining, perhaps as a result of shadow ban, it can be a really sinking, frustrating, anxious feeling. But I promise you, most of the time, especially if this is your first offense, this is the first time you've ever had any issues with Instagram, this is not a big deal and it's going to go away. So shadow banning, a lot of times when people come to me and ask me about shadow banning and they say, help, I've been shadow banned, there's something wrong with my account, it's not getting the same reach that it used to. A lot of times you're not actually getting shadow banned, which is a very good thing because the last thing you want is to be shadow banned or to be punished by the actual Instagram algorithm, where Instagram is actually taking a negative action against your account. You want to avoid those as much as possible. So if you can figure out what's going on and it's not a shadow ban, that's actually a really positive thing. So a lot of times if people come to me and they say that they're shadow banned, the first thing I do is I will go to their account and I will look at their most recent post and I will ask them to send me a screenshot of their insights. A lot of times these, you guys don't even know how to reach these insights because Instagram kind of hides them from you guys. This isn't a very good user experience part of Instagram, but essentially if you go to a particular post and you click on insights, you have to have a business post to do this, which I absolutely recommend that you have one. Anyone can have one. Just go to edit profile and change your account to a business account. And over time, you will start to get insights and analytics about your account. And so once you've done that, you will be able to go to a specific post and click view insights. If you swipe up on that little tab that appears at the bottom, you're going to be able to view all of the traffic that's coming to that post and where it's coming from. So if you notice that hashtags is not appearing there, then that's a sign that you've been shadow banned. But a lot of times if I direct someone to look at the insights for that post, they will see that there is quite a bit of traffic coming from hashtags and maybe that post just didn't do well as some of their other posts for another reason. So that's a really good thing. So I definitely recommend checking that out first and seeing where your traffic is coming from for that particular post. So let's say you get to this point and zero traffic is coming from hashtags. And so now you're worried and you've posted a couple times and you're noticing that 3 or 4 of your posts are just not reaching your hashtags at all. So now we need to go through kind of a checklist on what to do to correct this issue and make sure your posts are showing up in hashtags, because hashtags are a great way to make your posts reach a few more people and potentially reach a lot of new people so that they can check you out and eventually follow you and become part of your community. So if you are not seeing that hashtags tab, that hashtags line in your Instagram view analytics part of your interface, then that's a good sign that you might need to do some things to remedy the situation and get rid of any shadow banning activity going on. So shadow banning is, the definition of a shadow ban is when you're using hashtags on Instagram, but your post isn't showing up for those hashtags. Now, if you look up what Instagram has to say about shadow banning, you'll notice that they actually deny that shadow ban even exists. But the rest of us that have been on Instagram for a while, we know this is actually a real thing that happens to people. There are several things you can do to avoid getting shadow banned, and you can also take several steps once you are shadow banned to get out of a shadow ban and to avoid it at all costs. So the number one thing I recommend you do that I see people do all the time, if you are starting to grow on Instagram, it's very tempting to use hashtags like hashtag follow for follow or hashtag like for like, because you want attention on your posts. And I understand that and I sympathize with that, but those tags, Instagram knows about them, and you want to avoid your account looking like spam as much as possible. So hashtags like that are exactly the opposite of what you should be doing. Only use hashtags that have to do with your specific post that you're posting. Don't even, relegate it to a broader spectrum of using hashtags that have to do with your niche in general, because if they don't have to do with that particular post, there's actually an option for people, if they view your post in a hashtag, to click the 3 dots in the upper right corner of your post and say not relevant to that hashtag. And that's going to cause your account to appear less often for people in that hashtag. So you don't want to use any hashtag that doesn't have to do with your post. So don't use hashtags like hashtag love or hashtag follow for follow, because they're very general. They don't have anything to do with any particular niche, and they also can appear quite spammy. Also avoid using the same exact hashtag set over and over and over and over again. After a while, Instagram recognizes that you're using the same 20 hashtags, and it's possible you might get a shadow ban. So if you have been shadow banned, I recommend trying to use as few of the same hashtags as possible, and maybe creating 3 to 5 sets of hashtags that you can kind of rotate through instead of using the same hashtag over and over and over again. I also don't recommend using over 25 hashtags. 30 is the hashtag limit that Instagram sets. So you can technically do up to 30 and be fine. But in my opinion, when Instagram sets these hard rules, it's always best to go about 10 miles slower than they recommend. So going a little bit under the limit and staying around 25 is ideal, because you're not going right against the bumper. You're not going right up against the limit that they set. You're kind of staying back a little bit. You're staying inconspicuous. You're staying away from that 30 limit. So definitely 25 hashtags is the way to go. If you have just been shadow banned, I actually recommend that you only do about 10 or 15 for your next post once you feel like you have waited a couple days for the shadow ban to be over. Most shadow bans only last like 48 hours at most. So once you've waited the 48 hours in between posting feed posts, only post maybe 10 hashtags to see if your hashtags are actually going to show up, because you want to make sure that the situation has been remedied and that you are all good to post your regular amount of hashtags in the future. And my last piece of advice, if you have been shadow banned, is to not post your hashtags in the comments of your posts. There are a couple people I've seen get away with this and have success with having hashtags in the comments section of their posts. And as always, if you're someone that does this, check your insights, make sure that there is a lot of traffic coming from your hashtags. But if you notice that you are shadow banned and you are posting hashtags in the comments, that might be why. You want to definitely put the hashtags in the caption of your post. That's what Instagram wants you to do. I know a couple years ago it was very, very popular for people on Instagram to put their hashtags in the comments because it made their caption and their post look a little bit cleaner. But all you have to do is go to a Instagram caption generator. If you want to put a little bit of space between your caption and your hashtags, you can totally do that. It's totally easy. Just go to one of those generators. I'll link one down below. And just put it at the very end of your caption, and it's going to work just as well and look just as fine to the audience. And honestly, I have not found that my audience particularly cares if I have a bunch of hashtags at the end of my caption. So I think that it's definitely worth it to keep it in the caption rather than the comments, because it's just another way you can avoid that nasty shadow ban. So I hope this video was helpful. Let me know in the comments down below if you knew about these tips, if you have any other tips and tricks for someone experiencing a shadow ban, and I will see you guys in the next video.